to Dropbear and Panda.
Save the world.
Episode
30.
30.
Holy crap.
Do you remember being 30?
Yes, it wasn't that long ago. Yep.
Okay, cool. Well, we'd of course like to thank Emre Cords for the killer music again.
Thank you, Emery.
Don't forget to subscribe.
To all the things.
Apple Podcasts.
Not just all the things, just, you know, the Dropbear and Panda
subscribe to everything. Get a McLean's magazine.
Well, that is my last name, so that's perfect. We have a Twitter, we have a YouTube channel, we have
Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube,
website,
do the thing,
like everywhere.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah,
get on that. I promised to save the world last week by getting us a sponsor, and I'm working on it. But for now, while we're in contract negotiations, this episode is brought to you by the letter C for contract.
C is also for cookie. I know a song about that. A little monster used to sing it to me.
It's good enough for me.
It is. Canada,
Yep.
cream, and coffee.
Oh, great. Like a segue right out of the box.
Yes.
Yeah. So we are sad to report that Ron Joyce, one of the co-founders of Tim Hortons, died.
Yes,
just recently.
he passed away.
Yeah, peacefully.
Yes.
At age 88.
Good thing it was peacefully.
Yeah, it's a decent age to go, I think.
Yeah, for
88.
sure. I think it's fairly average for a male.
Yep. And, if you're a time traveler and have a DeLorean, 88 miles per hour is how fast you have to go when you travel through time.
You're just coming up with all sorts of weird shit today, aren't you? That's amazing. Did you? Okay, so my question to you, on a little side note, did you just pull that out of your ass, or did you actually happen to see it today and you just knew that?
Yeah, well, because I'm a huge fan of Back to the Future. It's like 1.21 gigawatts.
They're coming back to the Calgary Expo, by the way.
Are they?
Yeah,
awesome.
We should come back to that.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so that happened. So that's the country's in mourning a little bit.
Are we though?
Well,
I mean, it's sad when anyone passes away, for sure.
Tim Hortons is a bit of an institution.
Yes. Now, Canadians further east of, Northern Ontario and further east, from my experience, they live and breathe.
Oh, yeah.
Smaller towns live and breathe Tim Hortons.
In Cochrane, Ontario, which is really far north, like so far north, close to Moosonee, they've got the Tim Hortons Arena. And I think it's like the original one.
And our little hockey dudes, my nephews
timbits.
play for Timbits hockey.
Yeah.
For the Americans,
hockey is a game played on ice, wearing knives on your feet.
For the Americans who have never been to a Tim Hortons, it's a very mediocre coffee shop, like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Robin's Donuts.
Right.
They sell donuts, timbits, which are like the donut holes.
Yeah.
Coffee, muffins. They make some sandwiches. I like their breakfast sandwiches.
Oh, yeah?
I don't mind those at all.
Whatever happened to Robin's Donuts?
I have no idea. They just kind of disappeared.
I miss them.
It's like the robin didn't come back one spring.
It's going the way
died.
of Dunkin' Donuts, because Dunkin' Donuts is fading away slowly because they lost the donuts or their name. Now it's just Dunkin'.
What do they sell? Donuts and other stuff?
Stuff to dunk. I don't know.
Dunkin' Donuts and other things.
Do you remember in school, did you guys ever have Texas Donut Day?
No.
Oh,
I don't think so.
Really? Yeah, we used to have Texas Donut Day. It was like once or twice a year. And we get these gigantic donuts that you
Texas
can buy
size.
for like $2.
Yeah, no, I don't remember that at all.
Everything's bigger in Texas, I'm told.
What is the donut company? Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
They tried to open up a store in Calgary.
Yep.
That died within a year, because Canadians apparently are very anal about their donuts.
Oh, yeah.
I've had one Krispy Kreme donut, and it was so oily and greasy. I couldn't finish it. It was, sorry, America, but it was not my thing.
Maybe you just had maybe you didn't have a good one.
Maybe, I don't know. But to get back to Tim Hortons.
Right.
Tim Hortons are everywhere. They're everywhere in Canada. It's cheap food. It's not terrible food, but it's not good. But it's very inexpensive.
Right.
And I like donuts. Everybody likes donuts,
Who
really.
doesn't love donuts?
I prefer timbits, though, because then you can have like little bites of different kinds of donuts. But timbits are also dangerous because then you wind up eating like 4 or 5 donuts worth in one sitting, and you're like, oops. Then your pants don't fit.
No. When I was growing up, I grew up just outside of Toronto, and we used to go into Toronto to watch the talkies.
Were you born in like 1910?
Well, I remember the original Pete's Dragon. I remember my folks taking us to see Pete's Dragon, and we would always, when we went out to movies, we would come back and get Tim Horton's Timbits, and we were allowed to pick 3.
Ooh.
So we could have like our 3 Timbits in our station wagon with the seats all the way in the back, and we'd drive. Then I'd be in a sugar coma by the time we got home.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Tim Hortons, I remember, used to be better. They used to bake in every franchise location. I believe they used to bake everything fresh. Now they have like one place per city that ships all the dough in, and then they're baked. So they taste a little bit different.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, like Tim Hortons is known almost globally for how much Canadians apparently love it. We've popped up in the UK.
Right.
We popped up in, I think, Afghanistan when the Canadians were there. Doing their peacekeeping or whatever you want to call it. I think there's a few in the States now.
Yeah. It's pretty much everywhere.
Yeah, and again, like, I mean, I don't like their coffee. I'm not a Tim Hortons coffee person, but their cups are massive. So when I do go to work in the morning, if I pass by the on the go there, they sell Tim Hortons coffee. The extra large is like the size of my head. So if I need a big coffee,
that's the place to go.
That's where I go. And it's like $2.15.
That's reasonable.
It's huge.
There's a couple things I know about Tim Hortons and I love. I love when here's what I like to do when I do drive-through is I always pay for the person behind me.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I like to do that because that's kind of a fun thing to do. We used to live in a place in Okotoks, and southern Alberta, small town southern Alberta. Man, those people love their Tim Hortons. Like it's like a lineup of probably about 500 cars. I'm not exaggerating. Go to Tim Hortons in Okotoks in the morning, and you'll see what I mean.
I have seen that before.
Yeah.
And I have actually just gotten out of my car and walked in, and it's shorter to just go in and park your car and then come out.
Now they've got an app though, which is super cool. So when I was on the island, my son Kieran was showing me this app. So you can order on your phone and it tells you, you say about when you're going to be there, and you literally walk in, pick it up off the counter and walk out. So you don't have to wait in line. They just have it ready for you.
Huh.
Yeah.
I would do that.
It's pretty cool.
I eat the hell out of Timbits if they're there. I don't eat a lot of sweets, but Timbits, it's just because it's just one bite. It's just pop in your mouth and you keep going.
Yep.
And then, of course, like I said, before you know it, the whole box is gone.
So I learned something interesting about ordering coffee through Tim Hortons recently. A friend of mine, Barry Piercy, who is a wonderful comic here in town, calls me up and says, "Hey, if you're coming by to see me, would you mind stopping by and getting me a coffee?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I'll grab you a coffee." He goes, "Just get me a regular." And I'm like, "Okay, it's like a regular coffee. I get it." Like
regular,
nothing special. So I said, "What size?" He goes, "Regular." And I said, "I don't understand what you mean." Long story short, I get to, I like just totally go with this. I get to Tim Hortons. I said, "I'll have a regular coffee." And they're just like, "Oh, please drive ahead." And I'm like, what? Interesting. What is this? What's going to happen? Anyway, so regular ends up being like a medium with 1 cream and 1 sugar.
And the double is
2 cream, 2 sugar.
2 cream, 2 sugar. In a regular size? I don't know.
Well, you would say medium double or large double.
But a regular is the vanilla straight down the...
Yeah, straight down the middle. Boom.
Huh.
Yeah. But you could say I'd like a small regular or a medium regular, I guess, or a large regular.
See, I never would because I don't take sugar in my coffee.
Yeah.
I drink it black or with cream or milk. But
or Bailey's. I've seen you have Bailey's.
Bailey's, yeah. Kahlua is also a thing. I've put whiskey in it before.
Yep.
That's not a regular.
What if you said triple double? What would you get?
I would assume it's...
I have a theory.
A 3 cream, 2 sugar.
I agree with your...
Because you say cream and sugar.
Cream and sugar.
Yes.
Yeah, so...
Not sugar cream. Oh,
no,
that's weird.
That's weird. It's a little bit like dimensions on like a computer monitor. You always go width by height. So if you're going to do like 1920 by 1080 to get your 1080p resolution, that's 1920 wide by 1080 tall.
So cream is width.
That's right.
Sugar is height.
Yep. Exactly. You learned it.
Can I get
first.
2 width, 1 height, please? They'll be like, So most Tim Hortons I've seen are busy.
Yep.
The one that popped up in Kensington last year is slowly dying.
Yeah,
and I don't know if we've talked about this before, but, well, it should be. Nobody's ever in there.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. And they started doing a dancing coffee cup on the street. And it just doesn't fit.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it doesn't fit into Kensington. I'm not being snobby or anything. It's weird to see that sort of overt commercialism in a little tiny part of downtown Calgary that's known for its quirky shops. And
quirky shops. There's a lot of coffee shops.
A lot of coffee shops.
There are 2 chain coffee shops, but there's also 4 other non-chain coffee shops.
The Roastery is my favorite.
Yeah, there's Higher Ground as well, and they've expanded a little bit outside of Kensington.
There's a Starbucks where our buddy Jeremy works.
Yeah, and the Second Cup. So those are the 2 brand names. But for the most part, the Tim Hortons went in there, and I've never seen more than 2 people in there at once.
Yeah.
And I think they darken the windows so people don't see that there's nobody in there. It's hilarious.
Yeah, it's pretty vacant.
Okay, Google, who was Tim Horton?
According to Wikipedia, Miles Gilbert Horton was a Canadian professional ice hockey player. He was a defenseman for 24 seasons in the National Hockey League.
Did she say Miles? Miles Gilbert Horton?
I guess so.
Okay, Google, did you say Miles Gilbert Horton?
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that yet, but my team is helping me learn.
Okay, Google, is Tim Horton the same as Miles Horton?
On the website myhero.com, they say, Tim is my hero because he was very generous and wanted to not only play hockey but to help those less fortunate. Tim Horton was born in Cochrane, Ontario on January 12, 1930. His real name is Miles Gilbert Horton. To read more, look for the link in your Google Home app.
Okay, Google, thank you.
No problem. Let me know if you need anything else.
Right. So we used to have a house in Cochrane, Ontario, and the Tim Hortons Arena.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that.
Okay, Google. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Okay, Google, stop.
Yeah. So the actual Tim Hortons Arena was right down the street from the house that we owned.
So that is why. Perfect.
And his name is Miles. Who knew?
Yeah, apparently Google did.
Mile Hortons Doughnuts. Doesn't have the same ring.
Is that the same as Horton Here's a Who?
Totally different. Oh. Although Cochrane, Ontario does have polar bears.
It's that far north, eh?
Yeah, well, they've got a polar bear dip. I don't think you actually get polar bears in the place, but you can go swim with a polar bear in Cochrane, Ontario.
Huh.
And that's how badass Canadians are. You can look that shit up. I will put links in the thing because it's an actual thing.
So Churchill, Manitoba.
Oh,
is famous for polar bears.
Thick with bears.
Oh, yeah. I love bears, but they will rip your face off in one go.
Yeah. Did we ever talk about that one crazy grizzly guy? What was that name of that movie that he did?
Grizzly Man or something?
Grizzly Man, yeah.
That was the worst movie.
He was like this psychotic dude that went to live with the Grizzlies.
And I don't know why the movie did so well. I mean, it was interesting to watch, but he was a total nut job.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact that he got eaten by bears is no surprise to me.
It is not a surprise.
There was even a clip of him on the David Letterman show where David Letterman was like, "Aren't you afraid of getting eaten by bears?" And he was like, "No, these bears love me. It's fantastic. I'm never going to get killed by bears. But if I do, it's fine. But no, we're safe." And then, of course, he got eaten by bears.
Because there was a drought that year or something.
Yeah, the movie was just, I just didn't like it. I don't know whether he just annoyed me or...
I think that's probably it.
I mean, making movies is difficult anyway. So, I mean, the fact that there was one made that got critical acclaim and mass release is fantastic. But
I like bears.
I like bears too. Speaking of cold temperature polar bears, I wonder if they're moving down into the Chicago area right now.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Polar vortex of doom.
No kidding.
Right now.
That is, climate change in action, people.
Man, it's insane. So Calgary has been 7-8 degrees above 0 Celsius, which is quite warm, especially for January, quite warm. We're going out in light jackets, no gloves, no hats. Nighttime gets a little cold.
Yeah.
We are going to hit a deep freeze Sunday, Monday coming up here. It's going to go down to a high of minus 23 Celsius.
I'm going to convert that. So minus 23 Celsius is minus 9.4 Fahrenheit.
See, when you say minus 9.4, I'm like, that's nothing.
Minus 23 is pretty freaking cold.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So the Michigan area, all around the Great Lakes, there is getting hit with cold so awful.
Yeah.
That they're shutting down schools. And it's funny because in Calgary, we're like, we always get at least a week or two of minus 20 degree temps. But it's going to sound really hokey, but it's a wet cold. Over east.
Yes. It's dry cold here, which is really not that terrible.
It's really freaking cold, but you can dress for it.
Yeah.
East Coast minus 20 whatever, which I'm pretty sure is unheard of.
Yeah.
There's no getting it. Toilet bowls are freezing.
Man.
It's insane. It's just gross.
So my eldest son, Keegan, was in Scotland last week. And he said it was so freaking cold. He's never felt cold quite like that. He's
obviously never been on the eastern half of Canada during the wintertime.
Right. Yeah. There's he sent me this this picture, and I'll show it to you, and I'll put a thing on here. And that, I don't know whether you've ever heard this story. That's the Duke of Wellington.
Yes.
And people in Scotland, so Keegan was telling me the story, that this one drunk guy used to always go and put a traffic cone on the Duke of Wellington's head. Then the next morning, the people would have to come take it off. And it kept on going and going until finally it was just passed into law that he shall always be wearing a cone on his head.
Okay, Google, who was the Duke of Wellington?
According to Wikipedia, Arthur Wellesley, 1st Duke of Wellington, KG, GCB, GCH, PC, FRS, was an Anglo-Irish soldier and Tory statesman who was one of the leading military and political figures of 19th century Britain, serving twice as Prime Minister.
Huh. And now he's got a cone on his head.
Yeah, that's just probably some irate Irishman that was like, here you go.
I like Scotland.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
See, when you hit places like Scotland and Ontario, Southern Ontario and Nova Scotia and Quebec and places that are surrounded by water, whether it be salt water or fresh water, freaking cold in the winter because it's cold. It's a humid cold. But on the opposite end, Southern Ontario in the summertime, the humidity and the heat is like stuffy and almost unbearable.
But it smells so good.
Smells great, and you can just jump in a freaking lake.
You know what we used to do?
Perfect.
I got to take you back to my childhood. Not only did I see Pete's Dragon, but we used to go hiking.
You mean the talkies?
We used to go hiking, and one of our favorite hikes was the Bruce Trail hike. And my family even made a board game of the Bruce Trail hike.
You guys sure know how to have a good time before television.
Yeah. Anyway.
So where's that hike?
I don't know. I'll have to look it up. I was little. I just sat in the back of the car and
I see.
got driven there.
Yeah.
But I grew up in a little town just outside of Toronto called Pickering, Ontario.
Yeah.
Yeah. And our house backed onto Duffin's Creek, and we used to catch crawdads.
Oh, that's cute.
And turtles.
We had, when I lived in Nova Scotia, we had the coast right by us. So we could walk down to the ferry, take the ferry across. We would hop in the car, go to a plethora of beaches. Peggy's Cove.
Peggy's Cove is famous.
Peggy's Cove is very famous. And then in Southern Ontario, we used to just go to the cottage or go to the lake all the time because you could swim everywhere. But we had Birch Cove in Dartmouth. We used to swim there all the time.
We had family friends that had a cottage in the middle of Stoney Lake. And that was so good. You'd ride the boat, so you get in a boat and you drive for 45 minutes to this little island in the middle of Stoney Lake. It's so good.
This is why I'm so excited for this August. We're visiting my family down in Southern Ontario, and we have rented out the old family cottage that is not owned by the McLeans anymore, unfortunately. But it's going to be so good. It's going to be so good.
So good.
So excited about that.
Yeah. Tim Hortons is not Canadian.
Oh, you mean the... I'm thinking about the hockey player. I'm like, we just talked about this. No, it was sold to the Americans in the 90s.
Yeah, well, Wendy's.
Yes.
Which was Canadian
as
well.
Oh, was it Canadian?
Yeah, Wendy's was Canadian. Dave was...
Oh my gosh, I just lost part of my Canadian card.
Yeah. So Dave
Thomas.
Dave Thomas.
I didn't know he was
very
Canadian.
Famous Canadian.
Oh, I feel stupid right now.
I'll fact check that, but I'm pretty sure I'm almost 100%. While I fact check that, it got bought out by Burger King, so maybe that's what you're thinking about.
Oh, are you just trying to save my ass?
No.
I don't really eat at fast food restaurants that often, so I don't.
Oh shit, I'm wrong. Dave Thomas.
You heard it here first.
He was born in New Jersey, Atlantic City.
Oh my God.
I thought for sure Wendy's was Canadian. Okay, Google, is Wendy's hamburgers Canadian?
Sorry, I'm not sure how to help with that yet.
I'm terrible at asking Google stuff.
Google just thinks you're an idiot. I'm not. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, so I renounce my.
Wow.
Yeah.
I got back that part of the Canadian card that I thought I lost.
Yeah, and I lost.
I feel a little better right now.
That's good. But it did. So they sold it to Wendy's. Then it got bought by Burger King, and then Burger King was the majority shareholder, 51% for a long time. But then it got bought by one of the best named evil corporations in the world. Are you ready for this? Restaurant Brands International.
What?
Yeah.
Restaurant. It's like Acme.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's fancy because they put international at the end. Because if you
is it international or international?
No, it's Restaurant Brands International.
Oh my God. Yeah. That is so amazing.
Which is a Canadian fast food holding company, which merged with Burger King. But it's owned actually by a Brazilian investment company called 3G Capital.
I bet you won't find a hair in your coffee after that. Bum.
Yeah, instead of roll up the rim to win, you've got roll around on the ground to win.
Neymar.
Anyway, you might find this interesting or not, but the 3G Capital is a multi-billion-dollar investment firm. And they are best known for what's known as zero-based budgeting.
What?
Yeah, which is probably why they've isolated their donut making places. So basically zero-based budgeting means that at the end of every quarter, you basically have to make sure that everything is at zero. So you have to basically look after every single line item in your budget has to balance. And you can't move forward until that's balanced to zero, so that you're always...
Is this including happiness and self-fulfillment?
Right, dreams.
God.
Yeah.
Man, I know nothing about business. You know way more about this than I do since you run your own, but that seems to me like it would be impossible.
Yeah, well, it's what they're known for. And I guess that's why they're like this multi-billion, not 1 billion, multi-billion-dollar investment company, because they look after the investments by making sure that everybody knows where every single penny goes, which I really think is cool, because I don't think enough companies, let alone countries, do that. It's just like, let's just make more money.
I don't do that.
Well, no, because we don't have the right printer.
We're just lazy. Budgeting? What? I still have money in my bank account? Cool.
Do you notice those $10 bills are now vertical?
Yes.
Instead of horizontal? Mm-hmm. Do you think somebody fucked up the measurements?
So interesting thing that you mentioned the $10 bill.
Yeah.
I don't know why they made it vertical. However, the woman who is featured on the purple Canadian $10 bill is Viola Desmond.
Right.
And she is commemorated on the $10 banknotes. Mm-hmm. She's the first female to be celebrated on the face of our currency, and she...
civil rights activist, I think back in 1946.
1946. So she took a stand saying segregated movie theaters are fucking stupid, which she was right.
Yep.
And now she's on our frickin' money, which is amazing.
Yeah, you can buy a small popcorn at Empire Theaters
for $10. And it's also Black History Month, so it all kind of rolls up together.
Yep.
Rolls up the rim. I hate myself a little bit right now.
We're stretching so hard.
Yeah. So people make fun of our money.
Mm-hmm.
because it's different colors. The $5 bill is blue, 10 is purple, 20 is green.
I think that
50 is pink.
Yeah, I would like to say that not people, because the rest of the world has colored money. It's America that doesn't have colored money. And other places have got different denominations or different sizes, which would really mess me up.
Yeah, you'd be like, which size of wallet do I need for the amount of money I carry?
But a change purse.
It's funny because when we were in Florida, when we were in New York, we had American money, obviously, and I could not fucking tell which one was which. You had to pull it out and stare at it for a second.
Then some guy runs by, grabs it.
I went so broke in Florida. Oh my god! Yeah. But yeah, you're right. It was very, very odd.
Yeah.
And they call it our monopoly money.
One person once told me that it was bar coded. It's coded for the bar. So in the bar, you can actually see the color of the money.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty clever.
The nice thing about our money, too, is they've made it this weird, funky plastic.
That's right.
So technically, you can't tear it, because if it's sitting in your wallet for a long time and it's passing back and forth and it's paper, it'll tear.
I'd like to think it's a little cleaner, too.
Clean it. You can wash it, which is really neat. I have, however, received faulty money where it has torn and like in half, and you just take it to the bank and they actually replace it.
A friend of mine
so weird,
who's a cop, once told me, because we were working at a casino, something along the lines, like when you're in the count room, you got to be really careful because all the bills, he said something crazy like 80% of them have got cocaine residue. Maybe that's just a Calgary thing. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, but as we discussed before, Calgary's dead.
That's right. Well,
not Calgary's dead. Cocaine is dead.
Cocaine is dead. It's all meth now.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Huh.
Isn't that something?
So you could just chop it up, sprinkle it on some salad.
Right.
Eyes dilate a little bit for a while.
Yeah. Ugh. Lose weight.
By eating money. And then you just go for prison, not for drug use, but for destroying currency.
No.
Perfect.
Yeah. There you go.
Awesome.
You've got you had a soft opening last night for your show.
Better than a hard opening. Is it? I don't know. My brain right now is mush.
Yeah.
So Shakespeare in Love opens tonight, but we did have a soft opening last night, so it was a freebie.
Yeah.
With the understanding, because it's a freebie and because it's our dress rehearsal, our actual super dress rehearsal, that it could stop. There could be some screw ups, that kind of thing. And we had some students, some art students or theater students come and watch it as well. So it was nice to have an audience.
On one hand.
On one hand. On the other hand, I was like, oh my God, it's an audience. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
They seemed to enjoy it. We had notes, of course, after, so we didn't talk to anybody who actually saw it. But we opened tonight. I took today off of work, so I am doing this podcast with a towel around my head.
Wearing pajamas. And my goal to do nothing has been hampered by this podcast, because this podcast is such hard work. I know. It's so hard.
Ooh, super difficult.
So it's February 1st today. So by the time you hear this, it'll be at least the 2nd, because it's not getting out today.
We usually do our podcast on Thursdays, but I have had Tech Week, which is also called Hell Week.
Yep, for good reason.
Since Sunday, yeah. So it's work, come home for a quick nap, and then run straight to the theater, and you're at the theater for 5 hours until you do it all again the next day. So I said, screw this. I have too much vacation time to use up before the end to roll over for the next yearly work thing. I don't know. Blah.
Yeah.
So I was like, screw this. I'm going to take my play off.
Nice.
So I slept in today.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
I went and played squash this morning.
At 6 o'clock in the morning, people.
Yeah.
It wasn't that he got up at 6.
Right. No, I had to get up at like 5:15. It was brutal.
For a guy who doesn't like early mornings.
Mornings in general.
Mornings. Yeah. And I know that you, the chances of you working out are higher in the morning before you start your workday. Because your workday is so all over the place.
Yeah.
But 6?
Yeah, but it was so good. And we went and played at Mount Royal University. And squash is it's the racket game where the ball doesn't bounce.
That's like the worst.
It's like anti-gravity. It was a blast though, but
you might as well just play with a shot put.
Right? Yeah. Totally.
I'm going to start a league.
And then tonight I'm at Loose Moose Theater, which is going to be super fun. And then tomorrow, because you're doing your play, I'm going to go bartend. So if you're in the Calgary area and it's Saturday night, come over to Loose Moose Theatre and I'll buy you a Twizzler.
Or come to Shakespeare in Love.
Right.
And I won't buy you anything. And it's more expensive.
Nice. Oh, you know what else happens this weekend?
I'm losing so hard right now.
Guess what else happens this weekend?
Something amazing.
The opening of Just So Stories.
What?
Loose Moose Kids Theatre.
Yes.
Which looks to be amazing.
So what is Just So Stories?
Well, it's like a bunch of different stories, like
fables?
Yeah, like exactly like that. Yeah, it's just like, I want to say 3 or 4 fables.
They're like short stories for theater for children.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking my nephews, hopefully the last Sunday, I think, because they also have timbits hockey and I have my show.
This one might have puppets. There might be a puppet. So I'm pretty excited about that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Do you know what stories they're telling?
It might be on their website. I think, I want to say I just did the ad for it. You'd think I'd remember, but...
we did mention before that you have the memory of a goldfish.
That's true. For some things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we were talking about?
Thursday.
Case and point.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're still alive.
I remember to breathe most of the time.
I'm surprised your kids are still alive.
Oh, well.
You haven't left them in back seats anytime.
Oh, that's what ate my brain, is raising children. Oh. I left it all back there.
Kids,
yeah. Anyway, so that's that. I think that kind of sums things up. How are you going to save the world this week?
I am hopefully not going to murder anyone.
Oh, good.
Probably because I did take time off from work. It was really hard. I found this time really difficult, and I don't know whether it's because I'm just, I don't know, it's winter time and it's cold, it's wet and gross, and not feeling my best, but I mean, I've done 3 shows in a year before with work and not felt so tired. So
take some vitamin D.
Vitamin Dropbear.
Boom.
Yes, I'll and I should start eating better. We've got a thing.
Yeah. We're doing a thing.
Yeah, we're trying to.
Yeah.
So
we moderately successful.
Instead of having cheat days, we've having cheat weekends.
Yeah, usually that's how it goes.
But that's better than
cheat weeks or cheat month.
Cheat month. Yeah.
Cheat life.
So I'm going to do my best to relax and get my brain organized so I can have good shows. And we like supporting each other on stage. It's not improv, but everybody's got each other's back, and it's easier to do that when you're not exhausted and tired and frazzled. So
that's right.
How are you going to save the world, sir?
Haha. I was thinking about this, and I'm going to wrestle our sponsorship situation into the ground and have actual sponsor for next week, because I'm on the prowl. I've got some irons in the fire, and I don't want to come back next week and have sponsored by the letter D.
But we could talk about dildos and dinosaurs.
And Dropbears and vitamin D.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I'm going to redouble my focus. I'm going to call all the people that said that they're interested, and we're going to sit down and have some meetings.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I won't be a part of those meetings because I'm still going to be in my pajamas all week and then go to my show later.
There you go.
Yeah. It's perfect.
Anyway, so that's not going to save the world. I've been Dropbear.
I've been Panda.
And this has been
Dropbear, Panda, and OK Google Save the World.
Sorry, I don't know how to help with that.
Of course you don't.
She'll get there.
Yo, it's Dropbear and Panda, yo. It's Dropbear and Panda, yo. Dropbear and Panda, coming at you, Panda. Coming at you like a locomotive on a motherfucking bender. Yeah, tap my culture, now my chap, follow me. Yeah, with Michael Doggies, yeah, you be checking on the flow, yo. Checking flow, bitch, you was quick, you can't pick my medical ranges, angles, tangles. You get tangled, twisted side efflections, child should be. Can't compete with the owls that devour. Yeah, with the owls that devour, yeah. Yeah, it's a Dropbear and Panda, coming at you random. Dropbear and Panda, coming at you random. Dropbear and Panda, coming at you random. It's like a locomotive blowing out to one of them chopper. Dropbear and Panda, coming at you random. It's like a locomotive blowing chop out.
Drop it, Panda.